I have now been collecting sealed Magic the Gathering product for 5 years. Let's see how it's shaking out. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about sealed Magic the Gathering investment. Before you click away and get all angry about people investing in sealed cardboard, today we're actually going to ask the question, is it even worth it to do that? And before you get all upset, we do have a Commander live stream on Saturday where we are playing in paper Magic. It's going to be a bunch of fun. So we do play the game on the channel as well, but a lot of people do invest in sealed product, and I would consider myself a closet investor, meaning that I have product that stays in my house. I don't have like a big warehouse. I don't have multi-million-dollar investments. I am more of a collector than an investor. But personally, instead of putting money into, stock, like fun money, I do have my personal investments and my retirement stuff, but for my fun money, instead of putting it into like crypto or even like the S&P 500, I prefer to have booster boxes. I think booster boxes are fun to collect, and so they're fun to invest in. And so I have always said that my Magic investments will be at least 5-year investments. I will not sell a single box that I have personally invested in if I have not held on to it for at least 5 years. I've just kind of chosen this magical number based on some research. So what we're going to do today is take a look at some of those things, and then we're going to take a look at the prices that we paid 5 years ago, or for the boxes, compare that to the S&P 500 prices, and see what percentage on average sealed box pricing increases compared to S&P 500. But we're also going to talk about some of the downfalls to collecting sealed product or investing in sealed product. So I hope you enjoy the video. Let's hop right into it. So I'll give you a quick look at some of my boxes. Now, I am not a major whale. Kind of what I have done in my life is tried to collect about a case of each product that's been available since I started playing or collecting, and that's given me, this goes back to about 2017. Ixalan is the oldest set that I kind of have a considerable case or so of, and I've got about 6 of these totes that are just kind of full of Magic boxes and that kind of stuff. So again, I'm no warehouse collector, I'm no like massive investor, but it is something that I do for a lot of fun. Now, I have picked up some older boxes like Morningtide and Lorwyn just because I love them so much. This is a 4th edition box, and we'll talk about those boxes as well because the gains on these are getting more exponential, and that is definitely one thing to consider, is that boxes like Ravnica and Guilds of Ravnica that are now about 5 years old are going to start seeing more exponential gains coming up, in my opinion, and we'll talk about that a little bit. All right, so what I've got right here is a spreadsheet where I've taken the sets that have gone out of print since the last 5 years and compared them to the initial price that I purchased the product for, compared to the price today from September 18th, 2022. Now, I was going to do this with all these new sets too, but these sets are still relatively in availability from distribution, so they just don't seem like it's worth it to even evaluate yet. But all these sets are things that are no longer available at the distribution level, and we're starting to see increases in that 5-year percentage. So we're going all the way back to Ixalan today because that's when I started, and that is right about 5 years ago today. Basically what I've been a patron of Alpha Investments, so what I have taken is the boxes from him were about $80, and then I've kind of just called them $85 because I feel like you probably could have gotten them elsewhere for $85 to $90. So I've taken that as the box price for standard boxes. If you're a patron, I think they're $80 or whatever. I don't even know what they are at this point in time, but that's kind of the price point that I took because you do pay to be a patron and that kind of stuff. And then I've tried to take my best remembrance of what prices were on some of the other things. It was kind of hard to dive in and figure out exact details from this long ago, but I do have a lot of them that I purchased, the price point that I purchased them at, which should be about close to the price availability at the relative bottom to picking up this stuff. So let's evaluate this stuff, and then you can kind of evaluate for yourself. Ixalan, 94% gain. Sorry, on the other side of this, I've now taken the S&P 500. If you go to Yahoo Finance, you can see the historical data of the S&P 500. This is kind of the standard for evaluating investments that I have heard and that people compare to me. And then this is the S&P 500 today at 3873. So awesome stuff going on the older product for sure. Ixalan up 94% at $165. Iconic Masters up 45%. Unstable up 79%. Rivals of Ixalan up 94%. Masters 25. It's interesting to see these master sets. You know, one of the problems with the master sets is nobody really knew where the bottom was. So a lot of the product you were purchasing at a little bit of a higher price point as compared to standard draft boxes, you kind of bought them at the bottom. It wasn't that hard to figure out what the bottom was because we had such a history of the product line. Dominaria, of course, a set that not a lot of people got a hold of, up 100 and almost 70%. Battle Bond, this is now even going into closer to 4-year price point rather than 5-year price point. But Battle Bond is a set that nobody liked. Everybody complained about. Sitting at $320 now, up 276%. By far my best return on investment in sealed product. Definitely something that I wish I would have captured more of. I even remember I opened up like 2 or 3 cases of this just because I liked the set so much. But we did a lot of drafting of that back in the day. So yeah, you can see lots of, I'm not going to go through every single one, but what I will do is scroll down here. You can see as you get lower, the average price point decreases, right? You're starting to make less returns, but things like Mystery Booster still way up, but the draft boxes, you start slowing down. I wanted to mention collector boxes. Again, it was so hard for everybody to figure out what the price point was on a collector's box. Like my Theros collector's boxes were $225. That's what I paid for my Theros collector's boxes. Those are now sitting at $212. So those are really the only things I lost money on are the collector boxes. Even Throne of Eldraine collector boxes. I think my average price was around $275 and now they're sitting at $328. That's not a very good return on investment. Ikoria looking a little bit better, but it's very interesting to see that kind of thing as we look into where will the collector boxes be in the future. Now, again, we only have 2 or 3 years of data on these collector boxes. So there's not really enough timeline to get back to this 5-year price point. This 5-year investment is so important when dealing with collectibles and trading card games. It is so important. So on average, my 5-year investment on average has been about 71%. Now, this is important to note that this is an average of all these prices that aren't 5 years old, but it's kind of all over the place, right? Like these ones were 94, Iconic was 45. They're kind of all over the place, so that's why I felt like it was better to take an average. And then the average S&P 500 is 33%, and that's comparing the exact day of the product release to the price of the S&P 500 that day. But what you probably should be doing is taking the specific point of investment, looking at 5 years ago, sitting at a 53% increase. I think that's probably a healthier conversation to have. But as we move to this, I wanted to talk about some stuff. Number one, even at a 70% average or even at a 94% average, this is utilizing TCG player sales, which then you still now have to ship the product, which costs about $10 to $15. You still now have to pay the fees, which are between 10 and 15%. And after that, you are cutting into significantly the sale price of your product, where you are, for a box of Ixalan, you'll go from maybe a 90% increase to maybe like a 70% increase. I don't know a ton. I don't sell and buy and trade stocks very often. Like all my investment stuff it's kind of set it and forget it. So I don't do a lot of selling and trading of stocks. I do know that the broker fees are much, much less than that high percentage of like a 10% on TCG player and then shipping and that kind of stuff. And so I still think S&P 500 is a safer bet and probably more consistent and probably about the same percentage on a 5-year timeline. But realistically, I believe, and I wholeheartedly believe, I was looking up, what box was I looking up earlier? when I was going through this data, I found a Shadowmoor box that was in my eBay I missed a bid and I didn't win the bid at $718 from 2020. And now that price point is more into like the $2,000 price point. So those older boxes, the growth rate that's only in a 2-year timeline. Those older boxes, the growth rate is exponentially higher than a newer box that hasn't had that age to it yet. So it'll be really interesting to see where these boxes move in the future. My goal for all of these boxes originally was to sell my position at the 5-year price point. I'm up 100%, right? Like sell my position at the 5-year price point and reinvest that money back into new product, and it kind of just filters itself through and it funds the hobby. Now things are a little bit different. Life has changed a lot for me. Now I do a YouTube channel. I have the hobby. I have the hobby side of things. I also have the business side of things. So things are different for me. And now I'm thinking, man, maybe I'll back away from that and allow these products to continue to grow and the investment to continue to churn over as a result of the price point being higher on that timeline. So it's super interesting stuff to consider. If you collect sealed product, I'm very interested to hear what you think and what your history has been in collecting sealed boxes and investing in sealed boxes. What is the time frame that you look at to go ahead and back off of those investments? And what are things that you are looking at? Do you like the collector's boxes? I just don't see the history of the collector boxes really justifying the current price trends and people's investment. And what we're seeing now is the initial purchase of these collector boxes is in the $220 range, and then the boxes drop down to like $170, $175. So super interesting stuff to think about. Hope this gave you some information, comparing that S&P 500 to the last 5 years of collector boxes. If you enjoy the video, make sure you hit subscribe. And then if you do like playing the game, if you want to check out some gameplay, on Saturday night, we are playing our Commander. It's going to be super fun. Our Commander live stream on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Hope you have yourself a fantastic day. Remember to be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.